Igbo land, music is the rhythm of culture. It is a communal art that voices the expectations, sentiments, legends, myths, taboos, and history of our people. Egwu Ogene, a form of traditional music, is a style of Igbo music created from a large metal bell called the Ogene. Egwu Ogene is a major part of the Igbo culture that majority of Igbo living in other cities organize and listen to as a way of preserving our culture, because music is our universal language through which our culture flows and is transmitted.
Anụmanụ ka ị na-egwu a na-atụ abụ obulu ụzọ. Ndị ochie a na-akọzibe ọ bụ n'elu nkwụ ọkọsị anya ọta mmanwụ. Ọ gịnị anya na-ebe igwe mbanụ anya bere igwe ọ bụ ndị mmụọ. Were nwayọọ onye ọja anụmanụ ka ị na-ekwu. Agadi nwanyị dada nda na abụọ gwa ebe dị n'okpe ya ọnụ mara ebe o si. Agba mbụ ọtọ n'ọgwa agba abụ atọ n'ọgwa bụ onwe ka a tụnyere akụ mba. Nwanyị adịghị mma chele. That of the Oja, a small wooden instrument, a flute that beckons on the mighty and inspires them onto great achievements. We also have other wooden instruments like the ekwe. The ekwe is not normally played solo, no, it accompanies other instruments and just provides a steady beat. Ka, 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 ka. That is the ekwe. Now, the biggest of all the wooden instruments is called the ikoro. It is normally stationed in a particular spot and is used for 1, calling on the king and reminding the king that it's daylight, so the king wakes up. Number 2, you use the ikoro for reminding the entire community that something has happened, particularly something not too pleasant, like the death of an Igbo. If there is any development that has to affect the entire lives of all the people in the village, you use the ikoro in summoning them. That same ikoro can also be referred to as ufie. In Anambra, for example, the ufie is stationed where great people pass to go for an occasion. Each person who comes to that place stops. The ufie calls him, he dances a little bit, compensates the drummer, and then continues. The ufie normally tells a story. Whenever it is that the community knows about you, the player plays on that ufie for you, and it's for only great achievers, it's not for everybody.
For Igbo, there are music types that accompany different occasions and festivals. That is why there are varieties of music performing groups within our communities. Music in its finest form can be used to convey various emotions and meanings.
So we've now talked about 3 wooden instruments for music in Igbo land: the Oja, the Ekwe, and the Ikoro. Now we move into the metal instruments, and we begin with the Ogene. Ogene actually is used for big masquerades. You talk to the masquerade with the Ogene, and if it inspired the masquerade to be taking a risk, if you stand in front of that masquerade. Ogene is a very strong force of music in Igbo land, and you don't play it for girls, you don't play it for children. If you are not using it for a masquerade, then you use it for very strong men who are going somewhere, particularly to go and mourn a relation. it accompanies that person, and directly he moves into the vicinity where the mourning is taking place, people will know that a very strong person has arrived. Like I said earlier, ogene abụrụ ibe na-etili ụmụ nwanyị. Ogene bụ maka ụmụ nwoke. Ogene bụ maka mmanwụ. Ogene bụ maka ụmụ nwoke. O nwere onye na-eji ikwu ozu bụ odogwu ikorobịa ọkpọ ndị ogene so abịa dubie. Then you have the Igbo, the wooden drum made up of wood and animal skin. What kind of animal skin? Mesentery, that's what you use. It is very popular in different parts of Africa. In Igbo land, it plays a significant role, particularly in music like Akunechenyi, which has become very popular in Igbo land. You normally have various grades of Igbo. You have the big Igbo, you have the smaller Igbo, then you have the long wooden Igbo called the Ogidi that provides very pulsating balance, rhythm when the music is going on. The moment it is struck, you will know that the sound is different. Then, of course, there are other instruments that accompany the Igbo. Something like ekpili. I wish there were an English equivalent for ekpili, you know. But the ekpili bụ nke a na-ayọrọ ndị eze. There was an occasion where a masquerade was being asked whether he would still go back to where he came from. Ojionu Abagana. Eji chaka wee na-asị ị ga-eje kwukwuru ọzọ, ị ga-eje ọzọ ka aragoro nke ya jere eje maka na ọ bụ ọdịmma. Ịchaka is part of it. Then you have Oja, the wooden flute. Then, of course, another type of Oja, which is from the horn of a buffalo. That one is very, very inspiring. As a matter of fact, if you use it for a masquerade, it might damage a lot of things. So it is rarely employed. But it's also part of the Akunechenyi music because it's complete. It is something you can use on very serious occasions.
Among the Igbo, it is said that music serves not only as a medium for entertainment and social relationship, but as an intricate part in the development of the mind, body, and soul. It is assumed that the laws of the land are learned through our songs. The history of our tribe is learned through songs, and the accepted behavioral patterns in the society are all assimilated through music and dance.
That is Ogene. Then Igba, tum 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 tum. Then when you come to the Ogidi, boom 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 boom, that is Ogidi. Then the Apele, which is made from the horn of the animal. That's a very strong one. Like I said, if you use it for a masquerade, it destroys things. You know the other. That one is very simple, you know. And then Epili, Anayo, Epili Ayo. You know, when you come to Anambra, you will see the Akunechenyi and you'll see the performers. Akunechenyi music has become so popular that it's gone round all parts of Igbo land now. The music was originally owned by Nde Bariam in Anambra. And there was a man, very huge warrior called Eloba, that they used that music to lead, which is why each time the music is being played, with all this drumming, you will still hear it coming through. Eloba, Eloba, Dike. Fine, it's gone round Igbo land, and it is something you can't resist, you know. Then you have the Ijele. Ijele is the biggest masquerade in Igbo land. I don't know how to describe Ijele, but a lot of art went into Ijele. Like I said, the biggest masquerade in Igbo land. There are other masquerades like the one for which Nnewi is known, Ajofia. This masquerade moves and there is smoke emitting from its top. Look, ndị Igbo nwere egwu rinne. Ọ bụ na ịbịa ibe dị ka Abia steeti. E nwere egwu a na-akpọ ikpirikpe. Ya na-akpọ ya na egwu ndị abịrịba. Egwu a bụ egwu eji eje anụ ọgụ. And in those days, it was said that that music was used to accompany the warriors, and it provided the motivation, it provided them inspiration, it gave them the fillip to engage and conquer the enemy.
There is a popular saying in Igbo land, Geala manozo ukunkendanda, meaning, listen to the ground and hear the footsteps of the ants. This connotes that one needs to pay attention to the natural laws or ways of the land, and if you're listening closely, you will gain insight. Igbo highlife wasn't adopted by other cultures in the 90s, but by early 2000s. It became the new wave of music in Nigeria thanks to young Igbo musicians like Flavor and Fino, who had come out to revive the Igbo music scenes. Through songs like Igbo Amaka, Flavor retained the elements of Igbo highlife and showcased his deep Igbo cultural roots. As for Fino, an Igbo rap artist, he successfully infused hip-hop with highlife, bringing Igbo music to the global music scenes.
But in the current circumstance, the music that has been adopted, quite honestly, is the highlife music. Yeah. Highlife music as played by Stephen Osadebe, played by Oliver Diko, played by Celeste Noko, Mike Ejara, they have managed to adopt this and then inject various forms of music borrowed from outside to make this thing more pulsating, more rhythmic, more danceable, and of course lyrically very engaging. Somebody like Fino has injected rap into highlife music, and Flavor has done the same. And I must say that these two young men are perhaps the most creative musical ambassadors we have today, because the experiment they have been performing with music is it's so endearing, I don't know, well, that is talent in one word, talent. Bright Chimezie handled high life and made it more involving in the sense that Bright is on stage, right? He injects lyrics that must move you and then introduces names of individuals he finds around and he moves those people as well, right? And that is the most popular kind of music that we have. Music that involves praise singing, you see. But the most popular of all the highlife musicians we had was Stephen Osadebe, and he was the oldest anyway. He hung out for long before he died. And there were so many people who trained under him, like Ali Chukwuma, Paul Senkalo, and the rest of them. And they helped to immortalize his own brand of music, right? Flavor and Fino, the kind of music they play have become more dynamic in the sense that, you see, they have injected serious culture into it. When Osadebe and Co were playing highlife music, not much of our culture was injected into it. So that people danced lazily. Sometimes they held hands. When in a place like Onitsha, where Osadebe lived for so many years, would you see people who would come out with fan to come and dance, and otherwise just dancing on the floor around some little area. But now, with these characters, Fino, they have now brought out the original culture of our music and converted it into something danceable with the genre of highlife music.
Indeed, one cannot take away the importance of music in Igbo culture, and every Igbo man or woman has a duty to protect and preserve the Igbo culture for younger generations. Music is a means through which information about life flows. It traces the roots of our past, consolidates the seeds of our present, forecasts our future for generations to come, and as such should be preserved.
Biko, get me a glass of life. I'm put to happen in Bye-bye.